though both are the same to the control. Very important verse there. Why the whole Yadu dynasty was relinquished. So Arjuna is telling all these things. Now, we'll go behind. Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of the Yadu dynasty and appearance, engaged in the devotional service of the Lord with full attention and thus gained release from the force of material existence. So in this way, Maharaj Yudhishthir also decided to go back home, back to Godhead. And here the Yadus also have relinquished their body, and Lord has relieved the burden of the world. And he has practically destroyed many demons also. And how did he do that? It is like picking out a thorn with a thorn. He had to destroy. Generally, Janardana means one who protects. The Lord had to use the instrument of violence to establish non-violence. So if you have to remove the thorn, naturally you have to use a needle. Then you can remove the thorn. In the same way, if you have to remove the violence, you have to use the instrument violence. You cannot show non-violence, you cannot be non-violent to establish non-violence in the society. There's a violence going on everywhere. And how can you be non-violent? It is artificial theory or artificial way of like how Gandhiji did. Gandhiji used non-violence to throw out the Britishers. Doesn't work. Will only cause more inconveniences, more struggle, and more confusion. A thorn removes thorn. You use violence to remove violence. Establish non-violence. Okay. Adi Shakti Mataji, you read Adi Shakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam, Happy Janmashtami.
Happy Radhashtami is coming.
Happy Radhashtami, yes. Slok 30. Ya harad vubo bhabam tang tanung vijaha bajaha kanta kanta ke neba dvayang chapi shitu samam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Unborn, Lord Sri Krishna, caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller. Purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that the rishis like Saunaka and others who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Suta Goswami at Naimisharanya were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from the mental agony, Suta Goswami assured them that Lord caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. The Lord and his eternal associates appeared on earth to help the administrative demigods in eradicating the burden of the world. He therefore called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu family and serve him in his great mission. After the mission was fulfilled, the demigods, by the will of the Lord, relinquished their corporal bodies by fighting amongst themselves in the madness of intoxication. The demigods are accustomed to drinking the soma rasa beverage, and therefore the drinking of wine and intoxication are not unknown to them. Sometimes they were put into trouble for indulging in intoxication. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated. but afterwards they regained their original forms by the grace of the Lord Shri Krishna. We shall find this story in the 10th canto. For the Supreme Lord, both the asuras and the demigods are equal. But the demigods are obedient to the Lord, whereas the asuras are not. Therefore, the example of picking out a thorn by another thorn is quite befitting. One thorn which causes pinpricks on the leg of the Lord is certainly disturbing to the Lord, and the other thorn which takes out the disturbing element certainly gives service to the Lord. So, although every living being is a part and parcel of the Lord, still one who is pinprick to the world is called an asura. And one who is a voluntary servitor of the Lord is called a devata or demigod. In the material world, the devata and asuras are always contending, and the devatas are always saved from the hands of asuras by the Lord. Both of them are under the control of the Lord. The world is full of two kinds of living beings, and the Lord's mission is always to protect the devatas and destroy the asuras. Whenever there is such a need in the world, and to do good to both of them. Thank you, Mataji.
यथा मत्स्यादिरूपाणि दत्ते झय्यादिथा नतः नटः भूभार क्षपितो येन झौ तच्छ कलेवरं यथा, as much as Matsya Adi incarnation as a fish etc. Rupani forms that they eternally accepts, Jayat apparently relinquishes, Yatha exactly like, Nataha Egyptian, Bhubhara burden of the world, Akshapitaha relieved, Yena by which, Jau let go, Tad that, Cha also Kalevaram body. So the Supreme Lord relinquished the body when which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. So, Lord relinquished the body, which he manifested. So, did he leave the body and go? He unmanifested himself. When you say relinquish the body, it doesn't mean that he gave up that body. Krishna is eternally in that body only. But when you say relinquish the body, when he manifested to diminish, he now unmanifested himself with the same body. And now relinquished his duties for which he had come. You can say that. But if you say a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept another one. But if you say he has given up this body or Matsya body or any body, does he destroy that body? It is eternally existing. It is unmanifesting in this material world. So in this material world, people think that he has relinquished the body. For a materialistic person, it is like Lord has now left his body. But then what did they do with that body then? Left means they should do something with that body. But eternally, this body exists. Lord's body eternally exists, and Lord is there in the same original form. So when you say relinquishing, that means unmanifesting. Now, Prabhupada will explain more in the purport, just see. So Lord is not impersonal. Lord has a personal form. And when we say Krishna appeared in his personal form. That is why he is avatari, not avatar, avatari. And when he appears in multiple forms, avatar, all that forms are also originally existing. There is Matsya Rupa, there is Varaha Rupa, Kurma Rupa, all they are eternally existing. And whenever required, they come. And it seems that they have disappeared. It seems. That is why Krishna says, my birth is not ordinary. Janma karma chmetipya. For Lord, there is no death. You don't celebrate disappearance of Lord. You only celebrate appearance of Lord. There is nothing like disappearance of Lord. Have you celebrated in disappearance? day. So where is the question of relinquishing? It is like now this Leela is over. Like we celebrate Acharya's appearance, Acharya's disappearance. But for Lord, we don't celebrate disappearance day. Where is the tithi where Lord disappeared? Lord unmanifests. Lord manifests. Okay. Krishna Priya read.
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी यदा मत्स्यादिरूपाणि दत्ते जह्वाद यथा नटः भूभारः क्षपितो येन जह्वोतस्य कलेवरम् Translation purport Shil Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. Purport. The Supreme Lord personality of Godhead is neither impersonal or formless, but his body is non different from him, and therefore he is known as the embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In the Brahad Vaishnava Tantra, it is clearly mentioned that anyone who considers the form of Lord Krishna to be made of material energy must be ostracized by all means. And if by chance the face of such an infidel is seen, one must clean himself by jumping in the river with his clothing. The Lord is described as Amrita or deathless because he has no material body. Under the circumstances, the Lord's dying or quitting his body is like the jugglery of a magician. The magician shows by his tricks that he is cut to pieces, burnt to ashes, or made unconscious by hypnotic influences, but all are false shows only. Factually, the magician himself is neither burned to ashes nor cut to pieces, nor he is dead or unconscious at any stage of his magical demonstration. Similarly, the Lord has his eternal forms of unlimited variety, of which the fish incarnation, as was exhibited within this universe, is also one, because there are numerable universes. Somewhere or other, the fish incarnation must be manifested his pastimes without cessation. In this verse, the particular word dhati, eternally accepted, and not the word dhitva, accepted for the occasion, is used. The idea is that the Lord does not create the fish incarnation. He eternally has such a form, and the appearance and disappearance of such an incarnation serves particular process. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.2.4 and 2.5, the Lord says, the impersonalists think that I have no form, that I am formless, but that is at present. I have accepted a form to serve a purpose, and now I am manifested. But such speculators are factually without sharp intelligence. Though they may be good scholars in the Vedic literature, they are practically ignorant of my inconceivable energies and my eternal forms of personality. The reason is that I reverse the power of not being exposed to the non-devotees by my mistakes certain. The less intelligent fools are therefore unaware of my eternal form, which is never to be vanquished and is unborn. In the Padma Purana, it is said that those who are envious and always angry at the Lord are unfit to know the actual and eternal form of the Lord. In the Bhagavatam also it is said that the Lord appeared like a thunderbolt to those who were wrestlers, Sishupala, at the time of being killed by the Lord, but not see him as Krishna, being dazzled by the glare of the Brahma Jyoti. Therefore, the temporary manifestation of the Lord as a thunderbolt to the wrestlers appointed by Kamsa, or the glaring appearance of the Lord before Shishupala, was relinquished by the Lord. But the Lord as a magician is eternally existent and is never vanquished in any circumstances. Such forms are temporarily shown to the asuras only, and once such exhibitions are withdrawn, the asuras think that the Lord is no more existent. Just as the foolish audience thinks the magician to be burnt to ashes or cut to pieces. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material body and therefore he is never to be killed or changed by his transcendental body. Hare Krishna.
The magician seems to be cut to pieces. But magician is not cut. It is his way of fooling people. The same way Lord, one may think, oh, Lord is an Krishna body. No. The next verse speaks about it. How Mukunda lives with his own body. Yada yada mukundo bhagavan imam mahim. Jaham swatatanva shravaniya satkataha तदा हरेवा प्रतिबुद्धचेतसाम् अभद्रहेतु कलिगन्ववर्तत. Yatha means when Mukunda, Lord Krishna, Bhagavan, the personality of God, Imam this, Mahim Earth, Jahav, left Swatanva with his self-same body, Shravaniya Satkatha, hearing about him is worthwhile. Tada at that time, Aha Eva, from the very day, Aprati Buddha Chetasam, of those whose minds are not sufficiently developed, Abhadra Hetu, cause of all ill fortune, Kali Anvavat, Kali fully manifest. When the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day, Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with the poor form. So Lord left in his very self-same form, very clearly it has been given. Swatanva. Swatanva means he left with his body only. He did not leave the body. He left with his body. At that time, Kali started showing the influence. Okay, Gadadhar Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna, Dandatna Mataji, Happy Janmashtami. Maybe Radhastami also. Yada Mukundo Bhagavan Imam Mahim Jahau Swatanva Sravantya Satkata Tadahar Eva Patibuddha Chetasam Abhadrahetu Kalir Anvavartata. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from the very day Kali, the who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge. Purport. The influence of Kali can be enforced only upon those who are not fully developed into God consciousness. One can neutralize the effect of Kali by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of the personality of God. The age of Kali ensued just after the battle of Kurukshetra, but it could not exert its influence because of the presence of the Lord. The Lord, however, left this earthly planet in his own transcendental body, and as soon as he left, the symptoms of Kali Yuga, as were envisioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira prior to Arjuna's arrival from Dwaraka, began to manifest, and Maharaj Yudhishthira rightly conjectured on the departure of the Lord from the earth. As we have already explained, the Lord left our sight just as When the sun sets, it is out of our sight. Hare Krishna Danatana. Thank you very much.
युधिष्ठिरस्तत् परिसर्पणं बुधः पुरे च राष्ट्रे च गृहे तथात्मनि विभाव्य लोभारुतजिं हिंसना हिंसनादि अधर्मचक्रमनाय पर्यधात्. Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira said that Parisarpanam expansion, Buddha thoroughly experienced, Pure in the capital, Cha as also Rashtra in the state, Cha and Gruhe at home, Tatha as also Atmani in person, Vibhavya observing, Lobha avarice, Anruta, untruth, Jimha diplomacy, Himsana Adi violence envy, Adharma religion, Chakram a vicious circle, Gamanaya for departure, Paryadat residential Bhakti. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was intelligent enough to understand the influence of the age of Kali, characterized by increasing avarice, falsehood, cheating, violence throughout the capital, state, home, and among individuals. So he wisely prepared himself to leave home and he just accordingly. So generally we try to improve the situation. It's not going to improve. Everywhere we are seeing there is only disturbance. So intelligent man, what he will do, he will not improve the situation, he will leave the situation and go. Because he knows this is the Kali Yuga, it is going to become more worse. And if we try to improve the situation by giving material solutions, it is not going to work out. What is going to work out is spiritual situation, but again, they should have ears to hear. What did Lord Jesus say? You don't have ears to hear. That's why I'm not giving the truth. People should have ears to hear. You may go and chant, you may go and do so many things. But if they are not receptive, then what is the use? So intelligent person, what he does, he leaves that place and goes up. Especially in your home itself, your voice will not be heard. If there is an atheistic person or a materialistic person staying with you, even you try to tell, they are not going to listen. So world is big, go and tell there. Why break head with those people who have no ears to hear? So Maharaj Yudhishthira saw that in the state such type of falsehood, everything is happening. As soon as Krishna left, so many cheating propensity, everything increased. Kali entered. And Kali entered, Maharaj Yudhishthira left. You can even see Srila Prabhupada left his house. And he had the whole world to preach. So why break head with those people who have no ears to hear? Okay. Jumur, can you read?
Mataji, I'll read for her.
Okay. Read.
युधिष्ठिरस्तत्परिसर्पणं बुध पुरे च रास्त्रे च गृहे तथात्मनि विभाव्य लोभानृत हिंसनादि अधर्मचक्रं गमनाय पर्यधात्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Maharaj Yudhishthira was intelligent enough to understand the influence of the age of Kali, characterized by increasing avarice, falsehood, cheating, and violence throughout the capital, state, home, and amongst individuals. So he wisely prepared himself to leave home and he dressed accordingly. The present age is influenced by the specific qualities of Kali. Since the days of the Battle of Kurukshetra, about 5,000 years ago, the influence of the age of Kali began manifesting, and from authentic scriptures, it is learned that the age of Kali is still to run on for 4,27,000 years. The symptoms of Kali Yuga, as mentioned above, namely avarice, falsehood, diplomacy, cheating, nepotism, violence, and all such things are already in vogue. And no one can imagine what is going to happen gradually with further increase of the influence of Kali till the day of annihilation. We have already come to know that the influence of the age of Kali is meant for godless so called civilized man. Those who are under the protection of the Lord have nothing to fear from this horrible age. Maharaj Yudhishthira was a great devotee of the Lord, and there was no necessity for of his being afraid of the age of Kali, but he preferred to retire from active household life and prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. The Pandavas are eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore they are more interested in the company of the Lord than anything else. Besides that, being an ideal king, Maharaj Yudhishthir wanted to retire just to set an example for others. As soon as there is some young fellow to look after the household affairs, one should at once retire from family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. One should not rot in the dark well of household life till one is dragged out by the will of Yamaraj. Modern politicians should take lessons from Maharaj Yudhishthira about voluntary retirement from active life and should make room for the younger generation. Also, retired old gentlemen should take lessons from him and leave home for spiritual realization before forcibly dragged away to meet death. Hare Krishna.
स्वराटपौत्रं विनयिनम् आत्मनः सुसुमं गुणैः तोय निव्यापतिं भूमिरभ्यषिञ्चत् गजाः व्यये. The last verse for today. Swarata, the emperor, Pautram, unto the grandson, Vinayinam, properly trained, Atmana, his own self, Susamam, equal in all respects, Gunai, by the qualities, Toya Nibyaha, bordered by the seas, Patim master, Bhume, of the land, Abhyasinchat, enthroned, Gajahavye, in the capital of Hastinapur. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapur, he enthroned his grandson, who was trained and qualified, fully qualified, as the emperor and master of all land bordered by the seas. It is known as Vanaprastha. One should have faith in the descendants. Nowadays, we have seen, even in the devotee sections, we have seen people working so hard, establishing their business, but when it comes to giving the business to their own sons, they have doubt. Now just see, Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas and his brothers, they just left and gave this throne to Yudhishthira Maharaj, enthroned Parikshit Maharaj, their grandson. Here to give to son only, they don't have faith. And here is giving to grandson. That means how much faith? This faith is only going to build up the confidence. If you don't have faith, then how our young generations are going to come up? Many times I've spoken this to the devotees who have their own business, but they just want to rot in their business. It is said, in old age, don't rot in the house till your people will drive you out. The Prabhupada has made a nice facility. Come to temple and serve. Because you don't have any vana to go. So old people should actually take up to more devotional service so that they have a better house. Instead of being in the house, rotting in the house, till somebody says, oh, why? Till somebody even thinks also, oh, this person is really too much for us. Anyhow, old age means it's actually a burden which is given to the young children, young generation. So instead of burdening them, very nice it is said that Maharaj is still left, or Parikshit Maharaj also could have cared him. But still, Yudhishthira Maharaj left and the Pandavas left. That's the ideal way of Vanaprastha. Engage yourself more in preaching activities. In between, you should go and bless and come, but not too much that we disturb their family life. That is how, this is actually the tradition which has been followed through the ages. Okay. Yes, Sagar Prabhu, you read. This is the last verse for today. We'll take just 4-5 verses every time.
Hare
Yes, Sagar
Krishna.
Prabhu? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Madhva Pranam. Svarat Pautram Vinayinam Atmana Sasaman Gunaihi Daya Nivya Patim Gumer Abhyasinchad Gajahvaye. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapura, he enthroned his grandson, who was tamed and equally qualified as the emperor and the master of all land bordered by the seas. Purport. The total land on the earth bordered by the seas was under the subjugation of the king of Hastinapura. Maharaja Yudhishthira trained his grandson Maharaja Parikshit, who was equally qualified in the state administration in terms of king's obligation to the citizens. The Parikshit was enthroned on the seat of Maharaja Yudhishthira prior to his departure back to Godhead. Concerning Maharaja Parikshit, the specific word used, Vinayinam, is significant. Why was the king of Hastinapura, at least till the time of Maharaja Parikshit, accepted as the emperor of the world? The only reason is that the people of the world were happy because of the good administration of the emperor. The happiness of the citizens was due to the ample production of natural produce such as grains, fruits, milk, herbs, valuable stones, minerals, and everything that the people needed. They were even free from all bodily miseries, anxieties of mind, and disturbances caused by natural phenomena and other living beings. Because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment, although there were sometimes battles between the state kings for political reasons and supremacy. Everyone was trained to attain the highest goal of life, and therefore the people were enlightened enough not to quarrel over trivialities. The influence of age of Kali gradually infiltrated the good qualities of both the kings and the citizens, and therefore a tense situation developed between the rulers and ruled. But still, even in this age of disparity between the ruler and the ruled, there can be spiritual emolument and God consciousness. That is a special prerogative. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So nicely Prabhupada writes in the purport. The influence of the age of Kali gradually infiltrated the good qualities of both king and the citizen. It's going to happen. This is how the influence of Kali is going to happen. So all those things have been described, and a tense situation will be developed between ruler and the ruled. And still, even in this age of disparity between the ruler and the ruled, there can be spiritual emolument in God consciousness. This is a special prerogative. So Prabhupada says, even in this disturbing society, Harinam will prevail. Another 5,000 years is going to happen. For 10,000 years, it is just the change from one yuga to another yuga. Is known as Yugantara. This Yugantara is going on. But then real influence of an age of Kali will start after 5,000 years. But now, yes, the symptoms of the Kali Yuga will be shown. At the same time, devotion is there. The devotees was preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness everywhere. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions? So study nicely so that we can keep your exam just after 2 weeks. 13th and 14th chapter go through. They are very easy questions, only 3 chapters we are taking. And